Did you know the frog can eat goats? Or they can fit 6,402 mobs in one bow? And these are 31 things about 1.19 that you maybe missed. And hey, the YouTube Council bets me that you can't subscribe to this channel before I dig down to Bedrock. So, to prove them wrong, insta-mine that red sub button down below. It's free, and it helps out a ton. Minecraft's Warden used to look like this. Back in 2020, the Warden was developed under the nickname the Stalker, and it had two designs. One that was tall and lanky, and the other one that crawled around when it chased you. But Mojang thought it wasn't scary enough, so they scrapped it in favor of this new design, which they called the Hollowed, which did make it into the game's code, but was also scrapped. This time because it was deemed too gory for Minecraft. In 1.19, Mojang added in the Skulk biome. Don't believe me? Just watch. Now, the Skulk block is coded to spread whenever a mob dies nearby, but there's not really a limit to that. Meaning if we summon a bunch of mobs on top of a Skulk catalyst and then let the entity cramming take care of them, that'll eventually let the Skulk spread into its very own biome, which is equal parts beautiful and concerning. This isn't an end portal, but actually it's just a clever design using Skulk blocks. And since these new blocks have a texture that looks like outer space, we can use them to create some new illusions in the other dimensions. And for another illusion, simply take some of the new Skulk vein, overlay it on a diamond block, and bam, you've got yourself a blue version of the magma block. If you drop the Warden from build height to bedrock, it would still live. But if you have a 319 block drop into dripstone spikes, then that's enough to kill the Warden in a single drop. So clearly the Warden is a tough mob to kill, but just how tough is it? Well, looking at a comparison like this, you can clearly see that the Warden's health is substantially larger than just about any other mob in the game. It's even more than the Ender Dragon. Though if the Warden's supposed to be this new unkillable mob, then why does the Wither in Bedrock Edition still have more health? Up to 50 hearts more in hard mode. Brutal. Though, as difficult as that sounds, there is an easy way to kill the Warden without using any armor or enchantments. With just a Strength 2 potion, you can get rid of the Warden before it even finishes its Sonic Boom cycle. Just build up 3 blocks tall, land some critical hits, and make sure you have enough hunger filled up to regen. Because in just one hit, a Warden can deal 45 damage, which, to put that into perspective, would mean that it wipes out more than double your life bar in a single blow. And to even withstand one hit from this thing, you'd need full Protection 2 diamond armor. And even then, that'll still only let you survive on half a heart. But while its melee attack is fierce, its Sonic Boom attack is severely underpowered. Now, it used to deal 15 hearts of damage, but now it only does 5, which still sounds like a lot until you notice that a witch can survive getting attacked by 2 Wardens without even breaking a sweat. No joke, with how the witch regens with their healing potions, it'll never die to either of these Wardens. Though, there is still one way the Sonic Boom can deal some serious damage, and we'll see that later in the video. You might not see it, but there's actually a fish living inside of this block. Sure enough, you can waterlog mangrove roots and the water doesn't flow out, meaning a fish can live safely inside. All you have to do is place a tower of 2 root blocks, fill the top one with regular water, and then the bottom one with a bucket of fish. After that, break the bottom block, and you've got yourself the weirdest fish tank. But that's not the only mob stuck where it's not supposed to be, since if you actually look at these walls we placed nearby, you notice that there's a frog placed inside of the gap. As Razeworks pointed out, the frog's hitbox is so small that it can squeeze right in between 4 walls placed in a square like so. And if that seems like a tight fit, you wouldn't be wrong, but now it's time for me to tell you how we squeezed 6,402 mobs into just this one bow. If we were to fill up the inventories on a chest boat, a llama, and ourselves with shulker boxes, and in each of those shulker boxes we filled them up with a beehive full of 3 bees each, that would add up to 6,400 mobs. And then we add on 2 parrots to our shoulders for the remaining 2. And since we can put chest boats as a passenger inside of a minecart, that means that us and our new friends can tackle both the high seas and the high speeds of a roller coaster. But that's only scratching the surface for how useful these chest boats can be. Now, in 1.19, don't build your super smelter like this, but instead do it like this. Since one chest boat positioned like so can fill 9 hoppers simultaneously, we can make an extremely efficient furnace array pretty cheap. And for an added bonus, use blast furnaces instead of the regular furnace. And the end result will be 18 times faster than what we're used to. But despite all of those impressive feats, the chest boat still has one fatal flaw. If you drop it onto a slime block, it'll bounce a bit before breaking into blocks and sticks, just like the old boats used to. The same person who made this also made Minecraft's Warden. No joke, Brandon Pierce, better known as King B-Dogs, has been a mod developer since he was 15 years old, and after working on the Aether mod, now works at Mojang Studios, where he helped out on both the Strider and the new Warden mob. In 1.19, we can turn stone into glazed terracotta, but watch closely, because if you blink, you might miss something. First, we bone meal our stone into moss, then grow a 2x2 spruce tree to change the moss into podzol. Use a shovel to turn the podzol into pathland, put a block over the path block to turn it back into dirt, and now right-click with a water bottle to turn that dirt into mud. We're almost there, just trust me. trust me. After that, drain the mud block on some dripstone, and now we've got clay, which we can cook into terracotta, and then cook again for our final step, glazed terracotta. Droppers got a massive change in 1.19, but barely anyone's talking about it. And now, droppers have much less variability when they shoot out an item, which offers up huge changes for the technical community. Since now, as Ilmango shows, we can use droppers for a simple chunk loader like this, which lets your farms keep producing 24/7, even if you don't stand nearby AFK. When you start 1.19, you'll want to collect a bunch of powdered snow. And why is that? Well, with this powdered snow, we can make a farm like this to filter out our magma cubes down from their biggest size to a smaller stature. And once they're small, we have our frog eat them and get ourselves a handy frog light farm, especially if you build this near a magma cube spawner from a bastion. Or you could build it in a mountain and they'll eat the goats instead. As you'll see, back in the beta snapshots for Bedrock, there was a glitch that let frogs eat any goats that got nearby. So even if they can't eat fireflies, at least the goats weren't poisonous. And perhaps unfortunately, this was promptly patched out, since it was just some leftover prototype code. With the new mangrove trapdoor, we can create this all-seeing eye illusion. By placing a trapdoor in front of a dropper, we get this creepy black pupil that follows you around. And if you want different colors, then place a fence behind it for some new eye colors as well. Just make sure you don't use a sea lantern. We need to clear up this rumor that's been going around. Now, despite what people try to get you to believe, this structure in the ancient cities is not a portal. But I can understand the confusion, since in the snapshots, this was actually labeled as a small portal structure in the game's code. Though now, it's been renamed to just small structure in the files. And that's not the only mistake that Mojang had to fix in the ancient cities. See, this new block is called reinforced deep slate, and in certain snapshots, it was possible to push around this unbreakable block, meaning that we could move this around to make our very own wither cages in the overworld, though that was changed in snapshot 22W13A. But even if we can't score reinforced deep slate from the ancient cities, there is still a new enchanted book to grab, and with the swift sneak enchantment, we can finally make dive mining worthwhile again. See, while this is supposed to make you faster moving while crouched, it also lets us speed up while crawling, meaning you only need a 1x1 tunnel like this to have one of the most efficient mining setups in the game. And if you ask me, that's a lot more valuable than just silently sneaking past some skulk sensors, especially since if we take after this user, we can just effectively sneak past a skulk sensor by using the sprint jump. Just make sure to sprint, jump, crouch, and then repeat, and you'll escape just fine, even if you literally jump on top of the skulk sensors, which is just ridiculously broken. But we're not completely safe from the skulk sensors yet, and this trap proves as much. See, by arming 2 of these sensors alongside a powered rail with TNT minecarts on top, you cannot break any piece of the puzzle without the whole thing exploding. And the only options for dismantling this would be using water or some kind of piston contraption. But even then, with this user's updated design, the furnaces prevent water, and the glazed terracotta prevents slime blocks and pistons, making this a truly unbreakable trap. But maybe that's too evil for you. Well, no worries, this design is a lot more peaceful. See, skulk sensors already offer the chance for wireless redstone. This just enhances that. And now we get to create our own electrical poles to transmit signals. All it takes are some iron trapdoors, and we can power a whole chain of these things. And then if you stack the system, we can have it go both ways. Oh, and also, you have to build them a little close together, because this is the range that you're working with on a skulk sensor. And this is what it looks like from above. Which might seem limiting, but with that feature, we can make a particularly beautiful pattern just by throwing a snowball on a field of them. And for more fun, add in lamps like so to make this into a special light up floor that'll even react differently depending on where you throw that snowball. And even besides that, there's still a use for skulk sensors outside of redstone. If you got the time, boot up a super flat world filled with skulk sensors and then fly up. And as you zoom out from the floor, you'll start to notice some pretty trippy patterns emerge from the ground. The Warden Sonic Boom might not deal a lot of damage to us, but it can be devastating against the Ender Dragon. And as this example shows, with enough of the Wardens in the end, we can effectively blast the dragon off course. I mean, the dragon can't even get back to her perch. It's that bad. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?